All right, gang, we are working on worksheet 3.2. We're going to talk about parallel lines and transversals. Remember, we are going through the starred questions on this worksheet. Anything that you have trouble with, I can help you here. And then you bring your questions back to class tomorrow. This first section asks us, the directions say, classify the angle pair as corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, or exterior angles. So when we do this, we have to identify the two angles that we're talking about, and then we want to figure out where they are. So the first thing I'm going to do is highlight. So I have angle 3 and I have angle 9. And when I look at those two angles, I can see that I don't have anything to do with this side of the picture. So again, I would cover that up with my hand. I'm just going to scribble it out because I can erase. And when I look at that, I have to decide, are those two angles on the interior of the two lines? Or are they on the exterior? Are they on the same side of the transversal? The transversal, remember, is the line that cuts through both of them. Are they on the same side of the transversal or are they on different sides? And what I notice is that I have the Z, and that is an example of the alternate interior angles. So that's what we're going to answer. Now I'm going to erase what we have going on here. And I will do the next question. The next question asks us to look at angle 5 and angle 7. And so when I look at that, I actually see that I don't have anything on this side of the picture, and I actually don't have any highlighting on this part of the picture. I only have that one intersection. So if I highlight those two angles that I have, I notice that there is no transversal at all. Those are just two intersecting lines. And so those are what we call the vertical angles. And that is not one of our choices here. I'm just going to make note of that. And so we have none of the special angles that are named above. What I want you to do is go through the rest of those questions and see if you can get those. And then take that back. I got one more question here. Let me erase what I got. Question 6 for you. Question 6 asks us to look at angle 1 and angle 11. And those two angles right there are here and here. I don't have anything highlighted on this side of the picture. And again, we are looking for all the same things. Are those two angles on the inside? Are they on the outside? Are they on the same side of the transversal? Transversal being this one, or are they on different sides? And those two angles are exterior, alternate angles because they're outside of the parallel lines and they are one on the left and one on the right. All right, now we're going to pause this guy and you're going to fill in the others, and then we'll work on questions 7 and 9 below. All right, let's unpause this guy. And now let's read these directions. It says, given the measure of one angle, find the measure of angle 1 and the measure of angle 2. Circle the angle you find first. Complete the sentence for each angle measure using only the angles given and a special name and how supplementary or congruent. So when we're looking at these questions, we have to figure out what we know. I always like to highlight. So if I look at this question, I know that I have the 120. Do our diagonals. So I know this is another 120, and this is a 120, and this is a 120. So when I look at these two angles, 1 and 2, I can see that both of them have to be 120 degrees because they are inside the shaded region. And now the trick is to figure out why. You can choose any angle you want to do first. For this question, if I want to do these two angles, 1, I know that that is 120 degrees because vertical angles are congruent. And then from there, I can do one of two answers here. I could say that angle 2 is 120 because those two angles right there are corresponding angles. Or I could also say that angle 1 and angle 2 are alternates my z. Either case, I found angle 1 first, and my answer for angle 2 could be either of those two answers. They both are correct. They both are reasonable. So these can be tricky questions because there's many different answers or different ways you can phrase them. You just have to be able to justify your answer. Let's look at question number 9. For question number 9, they give me the 45 right here, and then I have these two angles, 1 and 2 right here. So again, I'm going to go and shade my 45s. 45s are those two corners, and then they would be these two corners. That means that angle 2 has to be 45 because it's shaded in the yellow, and angle 1 is not 45 degrees. And so let's figure out, first of all, why angle 2 is 45 degrees. And when I look at that, I notice that I have alternate interior angles. And then I have to figure out about angle 1. Now remember, these angles are only equal or supplementary. So for this, to find the other angle, subtract 180 or 45 from 180. So I know that this is 135 degrees. And the question is why? And when I look at these angles, there is a relationship between angle 1 and angle 2. Angle 2 is 45, and angle 1 is a linear pair. And those are supplementary. So without doing angle 2 first, I would have not been able to find angle 1. That's why I had to circle that. There's your explanation. Now what I want you to do is pause your video, try questions 8 and 10, and we can work on page 2 if you have more questions. Good luck.